Welcome in. It is soccer down here. The base is dropped. We got a watch along. We got our normal show. We're going to be talking about who knows what for the next few hours. Scotland and the Czech Republic are getting ready to kick off at Hampton Park. We'll be talking a lot about that this morning. And if we're talking about Scotland, you know who is hanging out with us. It is Jarrett Smith. What's up, Jarrett?
Not much. They're about to do the anthem on my end, so just curious how if we get like an Italian sort of vibe, or if they go more subdued.
Scotland subdued? Are you insane?
I mean, part of me wonders if they win Friday, do they just like walk across the field and hand the independence vote over to whoever's in charge for England?
Yes, I think that is accurate.
If they win, oh yeah, and we're leaving too.
That is awesome. Looks good. There's John crashing the party. What's up?
I got nothing. I did, however, before we get to kickoff, learn the limits of breakfast food this morning.
We don't need to hear this, John. What did you do now, quickly?
Well, no, it's what I didn't do. Like I said, I'm trying to get it done before 9 o'clock Eastern. Since we're hopping on a plane to go to Austin for the remainder of the week after the show, had some of the Danishes available, and that we're trying to get rid of inventory so nothing stays in the house for an entire week. Looked at the Danish, saw fuzz on the cheese, realized probably eating that's a bad idea, so it went straight to the garbage this morning. So we remain healthy for a day.
Disgusting. Please don't.
On the other
talk
hand, they
about
got
food
Derek
ever
Ray
again.
calling the Scotland game. So
oh, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Jared,
You
for
had
that
to.
Transition. Thank you.
Trying to bring you back.
Yeah, God, I'm gonna vomit. Okay, here we go. It's not funny, actually. It's very sad and gross. Lineups right now. Big news on the Scotland side. Jarrett, what is up with your broken left back / left center back who is broken again?
If you're an Arsenal fan, then you know all about Kieran Tierney's inability to stay on the field. Worth every bit of the $18 million that Celtic sold him to Arsenal for when he's on the field, but that is a asterisk carved out of obsidian that is placed next to his name at times. Hopefully he's ready to go for Friday. I believe the manager said he picked up a niggle.
Yes. That was the word.
I guess that's what happens. So he's out. So now it's going to be a big ask for some of these guys. I would guess Jack Hendry's asked to get forward, but I would be not necessarily nervous about asking Jack Hendry to get forward. I think he can, but he's not the same dynamic player getting forward that Kieran Tierney is.
No, definitely not. I'll be curious to see how that left side looks. So the things that jump out to me with both of these lineups, and you've got the lineups on the screen, Scotland is a little inexperienced in the back, with Hendry and Cooper only having 6 caps apiece. On the Czech side, I mean, it's a pretty standard Czech Republic lineup, but there's some players I want you to keep an eye on. We've seen this late in games in this competition already. You've got a lot of players who've played a lot of games in a short period of time. And when you go back and you look at what they did at the club level, for the Czechs, the Slavia Prague players played upwards of 43, 44 games this season. Masopust on the right wing played 45. For Scotland, you've got Andrew Robertson of Liverpool who played 50 games this past season. McTominay played 49 with Manchester United. The championship guys played over 40. Hanley played 44 for Norwich. Christie played 46 for Celtic. Dykes played 43 for QPR. How these managers use subs with all of those games and all those miles on these players' legs is going to be interesting as we go. We are underway at Hampton Park. Go ahead, Jarrett.
It's a matter of Ryan Christie and Callum McGregor both played about 116,000 games.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was in the 2020 season. I think it was Callum McGregor had played like the most games of anyone in Europe, because Celtic plays a bunch of friendlies. Then they have to go through 6 rounds of qualifying, roughly, I'm exaggerating, to get to European football. Then they play that. Then they play Compressed League. Then they play the Gummy Bear Cups as well. And then he was playing international duty. Like, Callum McGregor, by all rights, should have been dead. Any other person would have died.
Yeah, I didn't even get into their national team games they played currently for this. I just looked at club games, and when you've got somebody like Robertson at 50 and you've got guys in the upper 40s, it's going to have an effect. I think we've seen it generally around the 60th minute where there's been a wall for people. Scotland with a good ball down the left, crossover hit, but Scotland on the front foot in the early going.
I'm wondering if we see Craig Gordon in goal for the England game because, good job, Scotland. Hit the first man. Apparently you didn't watch Ecuador last night.
Nope, they missed that one.
But it's a matter of, I'm wondering if we see Craig Gordon in at some point in this tournament, maybe against England, because Craig Gordon is capable of having a really disastrous situation where he gives the ball away, and at the same time, he's capable of literally the save of the tournament.
David Marshall got the start today, a 36-year-old from Derby County, 44 caps in his career, played 33 games this past year. You do have to look at the Czech goalkeeper, Tomáš Václík, only played 8 games for Sevilla this past year, was second choice, and we've seen that with some goalkeepers. Zach Steffen had this issue so far with the U.S. men's national team, where timing is not exactly accurate when you're only playing that many games. Scotland taking control in the early going. Last time these two teams played was in the fall in qualifying, and the Czechs had almost 70% of the possession in that one. We'll see how long Scotland taking control lasts, but yes, so far they are having more of the possession.
Public service, what's your timestamp?
3:05. All right. We'll get caught up on other news and stuff as we go to. You've got all kinds of things happening all over the place right now. There's games all day between the Euros and Copa America this evening. Argentina makes their debut in the tournament at 5 o'clock. Miguel Almiron, formerly of Atlanta United, Newcastle as well. That's at 8 o'clock against Bolivia. Bolivia away from playing at altitude is always an interesting watch. You think Scotland's defensive? Bolivia might try to break that mold. There's that word again, niggling injury, Jarrett. Is Tierney the master of the niggling injury?
It's very possible.
Do you think they're saving him for England?
I'm wondering if that's the case. If he's not, it might be one of those things where, hey, man, he may not be able to play, 2 games in a week, and we don't want him. And he's not 100%. If he had to play in this game, he could, but we're not going to force him into it.
Scotland tries to go long down the right, doesn't quite work out. Jason Nix brings up one of the big debates lately with Arnautovic and the situation after he scored his goal. Jason, I don't know all of the details with it. What I've read so far, it's a little more. Scotland almost gets an opportunity inside the 18. The situation with Arnautovic is a little more complicated. It's going to be a corner for Scotland. I don't have all the details. I don't know all the details. I don't know politics involving Albania either. So he has said that he didn't say or mean or do or the things that he's being accused of. That doesn't mean he didn't do it. I don't know. I think he basically used a word that some people feel is offensive to Albanians and some people feel is how Albanians identify themselves. Some of it is down to the way it's said and the way it's pronounced, which makes it really complicated. And the other thing he said is the equivalent of a two-word phrase that one word starts with an M, and you can figure the second word out, and it's a word that gets said on a field over and 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 over again. So it's complicated. It's not good. It's not good at all, but I don't know if it rises to the level of some of the other things. The symbol thing, I don't know. That part I really don't get at all. So there's multiple layers to it that are a little complicated. I hope people who understand that part of the world a little bit better can make a determination here, because I literally do not know exactly what was the intent there. Czech's trying to get forward, but look, Scotland's holding up pretty well in the early going. Give it away as they try to go fast down the left. Abby, it feels like most people are rooting for Scotland in this one, in the SDH universe at least. A battle in the midfield. Scotland wins the throw. I mean, Jarrett, coming in, you were saying this is a game that Scotland needs to go win. You know, the England game looming on Friday can be a big distraction, but this is a winnable game for Scotland. They beat the Czech Republic last time they played 1-0, even without much of the ball. This feels like a game where they're going to have to risk a little bit at some point, right?
Yeah, they're going to have to, and I think that's Shea Adams coming in the second half. If you need it to, but you got to win this game, because as much as we hype up Friday against England, you're going in as a severe underdog.
Yeah.
You're going to be expected to lose that game. That's just what the odds makers are going to pick you for. You got to go get a win today, because if you're thinking, the idea here being that 4 points could get you through, this is your shot to get 3 points. And then you're asking yourself, saying, hey, we're going to go play our game, but we only need a draw from England and Croatia. You give yourself that opportunity if you get 3 points here.
Yeah, I mean, 3 points might get you through as a third-place team. It can happen that way, but yeah, you're right. Like, this is the most likely for 3. That's why I was a little surprised not to see Che Adams get the start. They do have Adams off the bench. They do have McGregor off the bench. Billy Gilmore's another one that's talked up a little bit as a potential guy who could get time coming off the bench, the youngster from Chelsea.
Early juice boxes for England. England's a minus 278. Scotland's a plus 849. Early juice boxes for Croatia have the Croats at a plus 108 and Scotland at a plus 296.
Yeah, very, very early. I want to see more of Scotland before I buy into those any which way. 10th minute, free kick for Czech Republic. I mean, part of this for Scotland, too, is they've got to handle the emotion of this, because it is a complicated start. It's the most winnable game. It's the game they need the 3 points. They're playing in front of fans for the first time in a long time. And they're playing a difficult opponent. It's not the Czech Republic, as Casey Keller was saying before the match on ESPN. It's not the Czech Republic of Nedved and those days, but it is a good team, and they've got a lot of players who play together at Slavia Prague, but also a couple guys from West Ham and Kufel and Souček. And Souček's coming off of a really big year. He's a player in the middle of the park that Scotland has to make sure they've accounted for him. And then there's Patrick Schick up top, the Bayer Leverkusen forward, who runs hot and cold, but he had 13 goals in all competitions this past season. That was Schick with the header, popped up to Marshall. Give us a temperature check in Scotland for this one, John, so everybody can freak out about how hot it is in the UK.
It is 52 degrees. 57 is the anticipated high today.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think this one they'll be okay.
That sounds like
There won't be
heaven.
any complaining.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Nice summer day.
That's 75 in London yesterday. Woo!
Oh no!
I swear to God, if you don't make the English national team play their World Cup group stage games in Miami or Houston, I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, you saw in '94 Jack Charlton nearly melt on the sideline in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Czechs are starting to string together some passes a little bit now.
And this is something the Czechs had to do. They had to weather the raw emotion that Scotland would come out of the gates with.
Yeah,
the worst thing that could happen for the Czechs was for Scotland to come out of the gates, get an early goal, and then just feel like they could roll.
Look, the same situation is there for the Czech Republic because, they're in the same boat here about this is the game they need to win and steal a draw elsewhere.
That's one of the reasons I'm excited about this game, and I've been excited about this game. It's because it's two teams where a draw doesn't really do a lot for them.
Burned on the Arnautovic situation. He said there wasn't anything very clear or definitive in the Austrian media. He apologizes for using bad language, but said it wasn't racist. He is a loose cannon and a nutcase, so I wouldn't put anything past him, though. Lots of people in Austria will be happy when they can afford to leave him off the national team. He's not popular, but he's the best striker they have. Yeah, that's basically what I read, Byrne. And again, I'm not an expert on some of the political situations there. I think a lot of it came down to how you interpret a word he used that can be used in multiple contexts about Albanians. But he did use bad language, yes, the other word that is very common on sporting fields and courts and places. I think somebody said that if that word got you kicked out of a game, Kobe Bryant would have been kicked out of every game 3 minutes in.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant didn't have Alaba with his hands around his throat, though.
No, he didn't. David Alaba was trying to get him out of there. Scotland gets a throw at midfield.
Play that ball long to Dykes and just see if he can bring it down, hold up play, and get somebody to run off his back shoulder.
Coco says Scotland's going to need to make sure they defend these set pieces. The Czechs seem content to try to steal one on the set piece. It's kind of both ways. Like, both teams are going to have their best opportunities.
That's how both of them are going to operate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it will come down to.
They both have a lot of size for that sort of thing.
Yep.
They're both physically built for that game if it comes down to that. They're very comfortable.
Yep. Oof, what an awful touch from Hanley. Gets somewhat bailed out by Marshall, but Grant Hanley, good grief. Good morning, Ricky Ricardo. I think
that watching a keeper have to haul ass 30 yards back to his goal because somebody made a mistake. That's the most he's going to move all day.
It's never fun. Coco, I don't know if the Czechs or the Scots have that free kick routine from Colombia in their locker. I don't think they do.
No, it's probably more of a straight on. We're going to put it in the middle and find the lighthouse of society, whoever that may be. It's probably Lyndon Dykes if you're Scotland.
Yes. Scotland tries to get it into the middle third, and they do, and they get possession. I'll get you in just a second, Jason Nix. Throw for the Czech Republic. Jason Nix asks, what are your thoughts on whether they should have postponed the Denmark match? I don't think they should have resumed it the same day. We're hearing more about it now. Kasper Schmeichel's spoken out about it. It sounds like the players were given the option of come back and play it the next day, or it's a forfeit, which first off, I wouldn't have used that language at all in that situation. I don't think that's fair to the players that are in the situation. They did have to get it played, I think, by the next day just because of the schedule and all of that. It would have been almost impossible to play it later. I thought it was the Danish manager as the Czechs dodge a little, or the Scots dodge a little bit of a bullet, but now the Czechs are back on it in the corner shot. Huge save. Huge save from Marshall at the near post. That was just all over the map, Jarrett, and Schick almost had an opportunity.
You get sloppy. It's Scotland will do a similar thing to the Czechs do. Is if they turn it over deep in the attacking half, they won't always drop off. Somebody will step to try and create that let's call it the Red Bulls turnover and trigger everybody emotionally to create that turnover that gives you a quick opportunity.
Corner was not well taken. Shot goes over the bar. Yeah, you've got to be careful. That was a good quick shot from Schick, but a nice save from Marshall at the near post. To finish the thought on Denmark, I kind of agree with Coco. Coco says if the players wanted it to be played that day, I think they were good to play it that day. Playing the next day would have been terrible for fitness. There's not a right decision here because people would possibly, because I think the Danish manager said as much, playing it the next day, I mean, I don't know how the guys are going to sleep. I don't know how, it's going to feel coming back the next day and playing 5 minutes and then playing a second half. So, I mean, it's kind of rough any which way you go, but I think it probably would have been better for UEFA to make that decision, whichever one they choose, as opposed to asking the players at that stage. So it would have been nice if UEFA had just said, okay, we're going to postpone everything, including the Belgium-Russia game, which was talked about at the time, and play it tomorrow at noon, and that's it. Don't ask the players who have just gone through that. That's the only issue I have with it. Whichever one, it's not going to be easy either way. I don't know if it would have been to Denmark's benefit to play it the next day or not. It definitely was a hard situation for them either way. And they did not look the same afterwards. I don't know how they could have. But again, I don't know what else could have been done. They couldn't have postponed it any further than the next day. Scotland trying to get something going and pop a ball forward, but nobody home. Christian Eriksen did issue a statement, so it does sound like things are progressing a little bit, but they just got to figure out what happened and what caused it and what can be done.
Yeah, I mean, he had mentioned that, and everyone else, they're looking for answers right now.
Great opportunity for Scotland. I'll come back to it 1 second, John. Lyndon Dykes at the near post, nearly flicked it on goal. It's a good run from Dykes, who cut back across the defender. Defender lost him. He's just trying to get a little poke redirect. It's a good opportunity, Jarrett.
I mean, Dykes is more than just a big body. He can make those runs, and he's not. I don't think he's not the same kind of player as like Shea is if he comes into the game. But
it's a good run.
Got to take those chances.
Yeah, it's a good run. He gets to the defender trying to find him. It's a really good run from Dykes. 12 goals in 43 games this past year at QPR. He's got a couple of goals with the national team and 12 caps. Go ahead and finish your thought, John.
No, just that, Christian Eriksen, he's in a good mood, making jokes, apparently, according to folks inside the hospital. But, yeah, right now, like everybody else, they're just looking for answers. Obviously, no timetable on something like that. And this is the last thing that you need to put a timetable on. Just get everything thoroughly done, come up with your answers, and then go from there. But, yeah, he's in a good mood in hospital right now, just waiting for answers to see what actually happened.
Good turn and cross from Jacob Jankto. A 25-year-old from Sampdoria for the Czech Republic. Diving header earns a corner.
And so we haven't really been able. We haven't had an SDH since Friday morning, before everything just started going haywire with the Euros and whole, and then Copa America last night. What's your favorite game so far?
The Dutch game.
And why is it the Dutch game?
Yes,
the Dutch game because it was just entertaining and it was open. And yes, Frank de Boer, Mr. Defensive Manager, had a team that created 6 chances in the first 30 minutes and played a very open game, maybe a little too open, especially in the second half. They give up a golazo, they give up a goal on horrible marking, and then they find a somewhat fortunate goal. I mean, I think the Dutch were the better team. The result was closer than it should have been, but it was an entertaining match. Both teams have a decent shot at going through in that group.
Yeah, the third goal was fortunate, but at the same time, I thought it was deserved considering the opportunities that were saved in the first half on some just otherworldly goalkeeping.
Yep.
It wasn't like the Dutch got a third goal after creating nothing. I thought they played a really good game.
Right. No, they created a ton. They deserved the 3 points. The goal itself, nice work out on the flank. And then 2 players run into each other, and they're still trying to find a way out of it. It was a nice work by Christie out wide, and then he runs into McGinn.
John McGinn's going to be the guy you're looking for to create a lot of those opportunities. It's going to be guys like Lyndon Dykes bringing the ball down, and John McGinn running down, running off of his shoulder, getting those opportunities.
Yeah, it's my fault. He runs into O'Donnell, but it's great work from Christie out on the flank.
How are you doing, O'Donnell?
Back. Yeah, I don't know what O'Donnell's doing in that situation.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's making sure that Ryan Christie doesn't shoot.
Yeah, he might have been. Much better from Grant Hanley.
Ryan Christie generates a launch angle on his shots not dissimilar from Ronald Acuna.
Okay.
He is full lean back on his shots.
Probably not good when the goal's only 8 feet high. Not good.
He has a future kicking in American football if he wants it.
Fair enough.
And the thing is with Christie, though, if he squares it up just right, he can score from anywhere, and he'll score some absolutely amazing goals cutting in on his left foot.
And he might injure people in the front row of the upper deck.
Yes.
Anywhere
in between. And it's that kind of player, though, that you don't really like playing. So sure, he could, hit 4 shots into the upper deck and, basically eradicate a species of bird. But he could have Scotland's got to clean up their defending there.
Yeah,
but he is also capable of catching. He hit 6 of those. One of them he might catch perfectly and score, and that's all he needs.
Scotland gets the goal kick, but over exuberant at times. Scotland. You get caught up on a couple questions real quick. J-Dub asks about national teams doing physicals on players when they join from clubs. I don't think it's always possible. It's definitely not possible every time. I'm sure they try to on a yearly basis, but I don't know when that yearly basis falls here. I believe last I heard Eriksson had done a physical at Inter when he made the move. I would assume possibly that he did another physical at the beginning of the 2020-2021 season. But that might have been the last one that was done. I did see another thing. I guess people were asking the question about COVID, and I don't think he had been vaccinated yet. I think Inter's a spokesperson for Inter said that he had not been vaccinated yet. Scotland trying to go long down the left. It's not as fluid on that left side without that double left-sided monster of Tierney and Robertson. But that's something that they've done that has worked, so they're going to try to find a way to make it work. Just not quite as easy to make it happen without Tierney.
Given the success you just had with Christie down the right, I'm wondering if you start trying that a little more.
Yeah. Good ball over the top. Nearly picked out Dykes. Wasn't able to bring it down. Johannes about the Denmark-Finland situation. He said that kind of situation called for leadership from people above the players, whether that's UEFA, the FA presidents, the head coaches. Fine with input from players, but people in leadership positions should have made that decision. I totally agree. Because there's not a perfect decision. Whichever decision is made, people will complain about. And I get that. I understand that. But don't put it on the players to make the decision. They can't think clearly at that point. It's not fair to them. Deep cross from the Czechs. Well handled. O'Donnell just heads it right back to Marshall. Masopust took a little bit of a knock on that cross. Oh, no, he got clocked. Got clocked by Robertson. Masopust from Slavia Prague. He's one of those guys, 45 games with his club in the last year. Slavia Prague went deep in the Europa League. Manchester United obviously went to the final. Liverpool played a ton of games. There's guys who have a lot of minutes logged this season.
And especially in a year where we had a lot of schedule compression.
Yep. Coco says, Frank de Boer doesn't know how to score, and now I'm sure there are some saying that he doesn't know how to shut down the game. The no-win situation continues.
Absolutely.
All the sarcasm.
If I'm not mistaken, Blind couldn't go 90 minutes. Because they pulled him out, and then people were complaining about the defense fell apart after that. So I'm not sure he was 90 minutes fit. Frank.
Yeah,
I don't
think Daley Blind could go a whole lot further either. Yeah, you're right. Questions about? Go ahead.
Not just real quick. Yeah, when you looked at Daley Blint when he came off, he looked absolutely gassed, and so that was the right call at that point.
Questions about Joseph Martinez, who didn't play for Venezuela yesterday. I don't think Venezuela actually made an official announcement of who tested positive and who did not. I think people have seen the picture that Joseph posted from the hotel as the team was leaving. Leads you to believe that he tested positive. There's also a lot of confusion with players who have been vaccinated, and we know Joseph was vaccinated, at least because there's pictures of it once. I haven't seen two different pictures, is what I'm saying. There's nothing to lead you to believe that he didn't get the second shot. But even with that, it is still possible to test positive. Talked about it last night. It is something that sports organizations are going to have to figure out what that means with players who have been vaccinated and testing procedures and all of that, because it's going to become more of a conversation as the European leagues especially get further down that road. The Yankees had an outbreak. The Yankees did the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, though, not the Pfizer one that was done at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Johnson & Johnson was a one-shot, not as effective at preventing the contraction of COVID, not as effective as the Pfizer was, but both do have that situation where people test positive after getting the vaccine. The vaccine helps them from getting very sick. So, yeah, I don't know the situation. I don't know the quarantine situations either with Copa America and CONMEBOL. And when you're dealing with CONMEBOL, who knows? Go ahead, Jared.
And, per an article John brought to our attention last night, you do the Johnson & Johnson, and I'm surprised more teams – I wouldn't be surprised if more teams haven't done that, because travel schedules are weird. It's hard to coordinate, multiple shots like that. It's easier to do a one shot with a team, with athletes of, hey, we got 2 days off. We're going to everybody, you're getting your shot today. Don't go anywhere. You'll have tomorrow to relax, feel better, and then we'll be done with it, instead of trying to coordinate and, herd cats twice instead of once.
Yeah, I kind of thought that would become a thing for a lot of teams, but it feels like it's all over the place. So, not sure. Czech Republic with a long ball from Václav, the goalkeeper. 29th minute. I'm at 28-28 right now as Marshall plays it long into the stands. As we get later into this, it's going to be a little interesting to see who decides to try to really go for it first. Because one of them's going to have to. Both of them need to. But somebody's going to blink first. Might be the Czechs right now. They swing it out to the left. Little back heel, Jankto.
I'm wondering if the Czechs have a better opportunity right now, just because of the way Scotland is a bit younger at the back, and
yeah,
we've already seen one or two little iffy touches.
Yeah, that lack of experience in the back was one of the glaring things about these lineups when it came out. Marshall ends up dealing with that cross pretty well. Souček had drifted out wide. Haven't seen a lot of Souček yet. Jankto with a little chipped-in ball. Yeah, he's onside. It's that experience in the back, Jarrett, that, it's got to be a concern for Scotland. Marshall, 36, is going to be fine as the goalkeeper to lead this group, but, 6 caps for Hendry. He's playing in Belgium now at Ostende. Cooper's only got 6 caps. Hanley, 33 caps. That back three is not the most experienced for the Scots.
That Jack Hendry's playing in Belgium when Celtic has forward to center backs that they don't trust. Yeah, Jack Hendry, and they send him out on loan. Good job, y'all.
30 games in Belgium, scored a couple of goals. He's got 1 goal in his national team career in those 6 caps. A lot of people are...
Aside from the Dutch game, any other games really stick out to you so far? Either one of you?
The England game was interesting, because they looked really good early. They just weren't able to maintain that level consistently. And, I mean, I think they're a favorite. I think England is absolutely one of the favorites in the tournament. Really curious to see Spain today. Belgium looked very good against Russia, who looked a little deflated. Here come the Scots. Good work. Shot. Big save from Vatslik.
That right there is what you're looking for off that throw-in.
Yeah, it's just off a throw, and it's popped over to Robertson on the left, who's in space.
I mean, that's what you're looking for. Even if you got to bounce it off a couple heads like a bunch of circus seals, you're trying to work the ball across and get the late run on. Yeah, he did get a hand on that ball.
Robertson put it right at Vatslik. That's still a good save. It's a quick reaction save. Oh, nice corner. Shot into the pile, blocked twice. They picked out McGinn. I like that kind of corner where it's low, guy kind of pops away from the group. You're trying to create that shooting opportunity. He's going to ask for the handball. It was so fast, I have no idea. Here's a look at it. Or no, this is the first chance. Give us the McGinn shot because, I mean, he shoots it into a pile of people. There is always a chance for a handball. Must not have been much of a chance because they didn't take very long to look at it.
No, and Jared also, I enjoyed watching, obviously, Austria and North Macedonia because it was North Macedonia's first time, and even though they end up giving up the first goal, they come back and tie it at 1. But for me, just to see that kind of moment for a country like that of 2 million folks with their first appearance, for me, that was what I thought added to the overall coolness factor of the tournament when you have a moment like that.
The Italians showed that they're a favorite as well.
3 goals by the Italians. Sit down there, guys. That's like enough goals for an entire first group stage.
Yeah, it was a good win.
I'm going to be tickled to death if we find out the Italians score the most goals at the Euros. I don't know how they'll deal with that, but
yeah,
helps when you have Insigne though. So that certainly doesn't hurt your chances.
Good cross in for Scotland, headed away at the top of the 6. Feels like Scotland is back in the ascendancy here. Can it get something to show for it?
Well, part of playing this way of trying to work the ball in with guys like Robertson and Tierney when things are going well is you have guys who can put in a cross pretty accurately. So you're not going to get as much of the situation of Scotland needs a Miles Robinson to sweep in the back.
Yeah, they were able to eventually deal with it, but Patrick Schick was able to turn and run a little too easily there in the middle third.
You got guys who can deliver that. You got you're playing with 2 left backs when you're healthy, so you're in a situation there where you got guys who can put the ball in the box on a dime, and you got bodies who can go up and get it. And also, if you're going down the right side, I think you'll see more of a cutback look.
Okay. Now it is trying to pop it out to the right side to O'Donnell.
Clear the first man, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough one for him on that run. Here's the McGinn shot. Let's see it from the other angle. Nah, his arm's down. That's a good call. His arm is straight down by his side.
That's in his silhouette.
Yeah, it's a good call. First one I wasn't 100% sure, but when they show it straight on, his arm's straight down. Those are the ones that, those don't need to be handballs. I think that's a good call. Scotland trying to settle as we get into the pinball portion of the match.
Well, they're going to play that ball long. Scotland is, and it's not a matter of just Dykes winning that ball. Scotland has to win that second ball because that's what's going to trigger that counter, and it's going to trigger things opening up for them. And so far, the Czech Republic's done a good job of winning that second ball.
Yeah, Scotland's got to stay connected. I mean, with Christie and Dykes up top, we know Christie will kind of drift. Somebody's got to stay right there with Dykes if you're going to try to play long to him. Here's Yankto down the left. Good defensive work from Hendry.
Hendry's a talented player. He's just young. Going to Belgium was good for him. He wasn't getting the time in Glasgow, so it's if he's going to develop into something, he needed to get out and go do it somewhere else because he wasn't going to get the time at in Scotland at the moment. So it's good for him.
Johannes, I totally agree. I think UEFA got it right with expanding the Euro and getting a team like North Macedonia in, and the story of that's great, and I love that they're doing it. The Nations League is another thing where you're getting some of those games and giving teams opportunities to play their way into the Euro. Yeah, I think they got it right. I do. I think they nailed it with that. Ricky, I'm totally with you. I'm absolutely sure that Derek Ray is having a blast calling this, or he'll say he had a blast afterwards. Right now, he's probably nervous as all get out, but you won't be able to tell because he's such a pro. Not really a great ball from Vatslik, but the Czechs recover it. Schick hasn't really shown a whole lot outside of that one turn in the middle of the park. You know, we kind of wondered coming into it who would take the initiative of this game. I think most people expected it to be the Czech Republic based off past matchups, but it's been Scotland. 53% of the ball so far, 5 shots to 3. More expected goals as well, if you love the XG.
I'm trying to wean myself off the XG. Thank you. Referees letting them play, as they would say.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the right way to go with a game like this. Start calling it tight. I don't think that's going to go over very well with these two. Going to create more issues than you need to.
Yeah, it's just going to slog everything. The game I'm going to be really curious about actually is the end of this week when the Czechs have to play Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
How does Croatia bounce back after the England game? Because it's easy to say, well, England showed you how you can try and, neutralize that talented midfield. Yeah, do you have the weapons to do that?
Yeah, I don't think Croatia's too worried about it. I mean, they lost to a team that is one of the favorites that they've had big games with in recent years. I think that the Croats will be fine. I don't know if the Czech Republic can play with them.
Yeah, that's my thinking of it. I think it's really easy to look at and say, well, Croatia had issues in that game. Yeah, they had issues against England. A lot of people are going to have issues against England. A lot of people had issues against England in the World Cup, if y'all remember correctly.
Yep.
Cooper gives away a corner. It's a little different. Like Scotland and the Czech Republic, I feel like Scotland can play the underdog in those games against Croatia and England a little more comfortably because they're fine with dropping and playing a line of 5 and defending deep and looking for a set piece, looking for a counter, etc. The Czechs generally want to have more of the play, and it's a little harder for them to switch into that underdog role when they can't get the play. That was a poor corner, but they retain possession and earn another corner. Alex Kral.
That's the thing with Scotland's development is I think it's been a matter of, you're used to playing without the ball if you're Scotland. Yeah. But when they're playing the weaker teams, they're getting better at playing with the ball and getting more comfortable at having the majority of the possession, having the majority of the ball, trying to dictate the game and not just, play without the ball. It's a transitional thing. I mean, it takes time to develop all that. You want to be that team, I think, but you also have to be, have to still be comfortable. You're going to have games where you're going to have to play without the ball and play that underdog.
Yeah, 100%. Another corner. It's just the progression of being a more complete team. You have to be able to play against some teams. Look, the U.S. went through this. I mean, the U.S. went through it a long time ago where it was, okay, they can't play with Mexico or play with these big friendlies that they book, but they need to be able to carry the play against a Guatemala or Honduras.
Do they have just like one ball boy running around the whole field?
Maybe one on each side. He's getting a workout.
Kid.
Yeah.
Getting their steps in.
They're doing that.
Dangerous ball in, and the Czechs get the opening goal. You just let them keep hanging around, and they finally get the header for Schick.
Yep. It wasn't the corner that was concerning so much as the fact that you couldn't clear the damn ball.
Yep. I mean, it's just you can't get it out, and they just keep recycling and recycling and recycling. And they finally pick out Patrick Schick. 12th goal with the national team. I mean, it's a bad corner. Like, the corners have been poor.
Yeah.
But it's a 2v1 over there. Robertson's slow to close out. It's a 2v1. And the late reaction, sorry, it's O'Donnell who's stepping out there, not Robertson. O'Donnell moved over to the other side and defending that. And Hanley just gets beat to the spot by Schick. I mean, he's between two. It's not like it's easy for him between Hanley and Cooper. But it's the recycle on that outside, which it's a bad ball. You're not expected to have to defend there, but the recognition was way too slow, and like a good bit of that's on O'Donnell. Yeah, Johannes, I agree. It's a brilliant header from Schick, but the cross shouldn't be coming in like that.
Shouldn't be that easy to get the free look on the cross.
The runner coming, O'Donnell's got to see that, and he's got to get wider. Let's see if he can make up for it here, though.
Dyke's got to keep his feet down there. If he's going to be, there you go. He's not going to get to it.
Scotland unable to get anything out of that last run.
That's the thing with Dykes on a couple of these long balls, man, you got to keep your feet. I understand you're going up for it, but going up and ending up on your backside does you no good. And I know you're going to take contact, but got to keep your feet.
Free kick at midfield. Tried to take it quick, but he's getting manhandled. Again, not very happy about that. So we get to halftime, Jared. I want, before I know you have to step away for a call, I want your thoughts on what Scotland should try to do going into the second half, what changes they should look at. But not there yet. Maybe they don't have to make the same changes that they would make right this second. There's still time.
Yeah, there's still time.
Not yet. Let's see what happens.
We'll have to see, how we figure this out. I mean, you have attacking options on the bench, and you have to go for it, because if you get nothing out of this game, if you get 0 points out of this game, you're asking yourself to do the near impossible.
I mean, you have to go for it because, to be honest, like, even a draw isn't a whole lot here. Like, it's not going to help you very much, because this is the one where you're most likely to get 3. So you've really got to go for it. Like, I know the whole idea, like, third-place teams and blah, 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 and you got to be careful, but this is the game they're most likely to get 3. They have to open it up.
Mm-hmm. You got options on the bench, however you want to do that, how much you want to play with it, because there's a chance that the Czechs look at this and say, okay, we're going to sit, and you can have the ball. We're just going to counter you. Okay, well, do you go to a James Forrest instead of O'Donnell on the right side, who's more attack minded, but he's going to get forward. He's going to leave gaps on that right side, in front of the back line.
45 is complete. We'll get the stoppage time. It's just a minute.
1 minute. But you're going to have to approach this the way Ecuador did last night. In the second half, you're going to need to come out with energy, and you're going to have to create chances. Maybe you can beat the first man, though. Who knows?
Good ball in. Just missed Dykes. It's still being knocked around inside the 18. Comes flying through McTominay. No penalty.
Just
Shot
running through
blocked. cleared. McTominay wants a call. I don't know if he's going to get one, but it is going to be looked at.
He just buffaloed over a guy.
All right, so he comes charging in. He's in possession. Yeah, that's a penalty. You can absolutely give that penalty because he's in possession of the ball. He's cutting back to his left. They're not going to give it, but that could be given. I mean, I guess we're going to allow blocking now, like in basketball, because the defender had his position. But, yeah, you could say he kind of threw his body into McTominay's run there. People will complain about it, but it's 1-0 at halftime, Czech Republic. All right, Jarrett, what are you doing in the second half? What are your changes at halftime, if any?
I'm wondering if I put Shea on for Christie. Maybe someone else can drop Christie a little bit more in the midfield to make those runs with McGinn into the attack. I don't know if I go with change O'Donnell and put Forrest on. O'Donnell is more defensive-minded, really good defensively, but I don't know if I make that decision or not. I don't know how much you change the midfield. You've created opportunities. You might make one or two changes at halftime, keep your sub windows, and then you've got 3 windows to see what you can do in 45 minutes.
Just to jump into some of the individual stats real quick, Jarrett, before you go. Robertson, 17 of 19 on his passes. He's won 3 of 3 duels. He's your highest rated player so far. McTominay, 22 of 25 in the middle of the park. Hanley, 25 of 29 on his passing. Cooper, 33 of 42. O'Donnell, 12 of 19. He's won 2 of 4 on the duels. 1 of 1 on his crosses. Robertson's 3 of 5 on his crosses. O'Donnell feels like the one that maybe you look for more going forward on that right side.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if that's where you go with it. Just especially if the left side's not going to have that fire and that magic.
You tell me, can you move Christie somewhere else? Because I like his ability on the ball. Can you move him into a midfield spot? Could you move him elsewhere to get Che Adams on to go to with a true 2 up top?
I mean, you could drop him back. It's just a matter of you're going to lose some of that. I'm going to say, you're going to lose some of that fight in the midfield, but that's. I don't mean that as a disservice to what Christie's capable of in the midfield. But I would like to get Shea on to have another guy run on there. But that's you're talking about getting really in the offensive side of things. 2 years from now, David Turnbull's an interesting option. I don't know if he's that guy yet, as like that flying 8. But I don't know if he's that guy for this game. Forrest is the one that I think you're looking at here, especially if you're going to be going down the right side. I'm wondering if he's that guy, and he's playing right wing back in name only. You're going to be asking your midfield, say, hey, I'm going to need you to shade to the right, because he's going to try and get back, but it's going to take a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have to look at something like that. Of course, you're going to ask for the Celtic player to come on, Jared. I'm not surprised by that.
But. For James Forrest?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, James Forrest is he is your right wing attacking. He's your attacking right wing player. I mean, O'Donnell is not a bad guy. I like the idea of O'Donnell starting these games because of his defensive ability in that right wing back, because you're asking him to do a lot. And this is now we're going to put, you might put an attacking guy on in that role and sacrifice a little bit defensively and ask everyone to roll over. Gilmore might be one you see in the second half as well in the midfield. We'll see. I don't know if this is a game for Callum McGregor or not. I don't know if we'll see him in, but we'll. You got 45 minutes to figure it out.
Yeah, intrigued to see what changes we might see from Scotland. You have a call, but you're going to try to rejoin us towards the end, right?
I'm going to try and rejoin.
Please do. We need your angst, Jerry.
Yes.
For the emotional stress that this game will give.
Yes, that's okay. What we all need. We're all waiting on
it. All right. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Godspeed.
See you shortly.
Bye.
All right. Some news of the day, things you might not have heard just yet. Down in South America, a player who at one point was linked to Atlanta United, Esteban Rolon, who played for Gabriel Heinze at Argentinos Juniors. Looks like he is headed to Boca Juniors, who are spending all of the money they possibly can right now, making a deal with Huracan to bring in Norberto Briasco and Esteban Rolon as Boca tries to reload right now. They've got to figure out the forward situation. That's their biggest issue at the moment. We'll see if they do. But keep an eye on that. I haven't seen anything official out of the Venezuelan camp about their situation from yesterday. I'll be looking for that as we go today. There was some talk that Jefferson Soteldo could be rejoining the team and ready to contribute in upcoming games. In the Copa America, remember, they play 4 group stage games, not 3. So it's a little more forgiving, especially when 4 of the 5 teams in the group go through. So the loss to Brazil doesn't eliminate Venezuela by any stretch. That's why I think the talk and the calls about, bring Joseph back because the tournament's over, it's not. It's not by any stretch just yet. So stay tuned on that one. What other news of the day has grabbed your attention, John?
Oh, well, I mean, you look at what happened last night, Copa America. We can get into that. It looks like Paulo Fonseca is going to be announced as the head coach at Tottenham on Wednesday. That's the date that they're looking for, announcing Fonseca to be the new head coach of Spurs. But, you got your triple header today. You've got the action tonight in Copa America. We have some folks who've responded on Twitter this morning to our Manic Mondayness. So there's some stuff there
what
as
do we
well
have
if you
on
want to
Twitter?
get into that.
Because it's halftime, so we got to move fast. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, so let's go. So I have to hit the right tab. Michael Valverde, last night. Colombia sleptwalked their way to a win. Ecuador deserved better. Tough watch.
I didn't think it was a tough watch, but Ecuador wasn't good enough in the final third, and they gave up a goal on the set piece. Colombia got what they needed. Colombia is not what they used to be. They're not what they were in 2014. I don't know what the situation is with James and being left out, and now talking a lot of trash about the Colombia national team program and Reynaldo Rueda. That's going to have to get resolved here at some point because, they were all right. Cardona's a top player. Cardona's excellent. Rafael Santos Borre didn't really give them anything up top. Cuadrado was still pretty good. I liked Borja, the player from Atletico Junior, but I think Ecuador looked better in the middle part of the field, but they weren't able to do enough in the final third. So the result feels about right. It's a brilliant set piece, but both teams are ones that could be difficult outs later on. So I'm going to wait and see on both of them. I think they've got room to grow in this tournament.
Nathan Pugh with good and bad of the weekend. Best part of the footy-filled weekend. 1, hair. Ref Nestor Pitana's beautiful display of doing everything you can with what you have.
He made the most out of what he's got left on his head, yes.
Oh, yeah, we call that a Watergate do. Try to cover up as much as you can. Steve McManaman's beautiful Scouse Loxy oozes cool, and I want to be his friend.
Okay. Very nice.
The worst part, 1, the masked orchestra on Fox. All the virtues signaling with wind and string instruments. Brilliant. I missed that.
Yeah. I have no idea what that was about.
Then the pen for Brazil was so letter of the law and technically correct that it makes me sick. The ball was going out.
Yeah, it was. I hate that kind of penalty given. Well, when you compare the two, you compare that one to compare the one that Scotland wanted here. McTominay's going to goal. He's cutting back to his left foot, and a defender is subtle about it, but impedes his run. The one for Brazil, the player is going over the end line. He's touched it away from goal, away from getting to it, and then drags his leg to get contact, and that gets the penalty, and the McTominay one doesn't. Yeah. The feel of those is not correct at all. So, I don't like that penalty either.
And then Tafka with a World Cup qualifying question. He says, with qualifiers taking place most every month during MLS offseason, will the USMNT hold extended, in quotation marks, camps to give those players a means of staying sharp?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, they might for the players who could be called up, but the bulk of the call-ups are going to come from European clubs, and especially in that January time frame. I think they're going to come from that. That's the one that's the issue, is really the January window. That is new. We're not used to having a official January window for competitive matches. So if anyone, I would imagine that the national team won't do a camp, but I would imagine that Greg Berhalter would try to arrange training opportunities for players that he might call upon for the January group. You know, I mean, we see it all the time where players go and train overseas. Could see a situation like that. That would be more likely to me, because I don't think it's going to be very many. I mean, you know, who would it be out of MLS who would get that call today? It'd probably be a Kellen Acosta, because he's the number one backup to Tyler Adams. It'd probably be Sebastian Lletget, because that's Greg's guy and he trusts him in the midfield. Could be a goalkeeper in that group, possibly. You know, it's 4, 5, maybe 6 guys tops. The rest of it's going to come from players in Europe. So I think it'll be more of an individual basis of finding them training opportunities. That's my guess. Jason Nix, I am not a sailor today. It is an Aberdeen retro kit is what it is.
Come on now. It's not a sailor. That's a gorgeous retro kit.
Jeez, calm down there. Man, don't freak out. If you're looking at it from a distance, you might think it's an anchor on it. So I get it. Well, if you don't know the kit, it's a 1985 Aberdeen kit. I'm not expecting a whole bunch of people to know the 1985 Aberdeen kit. Like, oh, yeah, that's the one that they won when they won the league in 1985. Yes, that's it.
That's the one they won when they won the league in 1985.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that Sean Vergara is wanting to know if I think it's a Brugge kit. Mm-hmm. Sean put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just following up.
Yeah, Domer put things out there too, and you got in trouble for doing that. Might want to read a little bit first before you just throw things out into the mix. Please. For all of our sakes. All right, people are asking for you to do something, and it is that time, and you should probably knock it out now before we get into the second half. So why don't you tell us about Steve Apolinski?
Apolinski & Associates, LLC, proud supporters of everything soccer down here in the SDH network for wrongful death and serious injury matters. One place you need to go, it's Apolinski & Associates, LLC. 3 different ways that you can do it. 1, pick up the phone, get a free consultation, 404-377-9191. 2, shoot Steve an email, steve at aa-legal.com. 3, go on the World Wide Web, large device or small, type in aa-legal.com in the address bar. Hit the enter key, the return key, the arrow key, whatever moves you to the homepage for Apolinski & Associates, LLC. You can see all the different cases that they can help you with all the different pieces of information that you can garner for yourself. In addition to all the different awards that they have won in their over 30 years of experience, where they have got over $40 million in judgments for their clients in Georgia and Alabama. Recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend Magazine for being one of the top 100 firms in this here state of Georgia. And if by looking at their homepage you still have questions, as you've been looking, a pop-up window has popped up. You can get your questions answered there perhaps, because that's what pop-up windows do. They pop up and they can help you answer your questions. Once again, Apolinski & Associates, LLC. It's aa-legal.com. Let's get ready for the second halves.
Second halves?
Halves.
Halves of what?
Halves of stuff.
What are you talking about? There's one game.
We have one game. But is it on multiple networks? Is there just on ESPN?
You're trying to find a way out of a mistaken word, and you're not going to find it. Just say my bad. You need to learn the skill of saying my bad. Saying multiple halves because it's on different networks doesn't actually apply. No, it doesn't. Just say my bad, please. One day, learn how to do that. It'd be amazing. Lots of keys, -2. 8.3 with some bonus points Abby gives you. A 9.98 from Domer, mainly because you didn't cuss this time around. Sean, a -1, randomly looking around Office HD.
I'm looking in the mirror trying to see if we're getting ready for a second-half kick. I was looking against time.
-2, making me dizzy with the abnormally high use of hands. -2 for halves. -1, no pause. And Alex Bassine, 10, 4.2567. +1 for Spirit Fingers, -1 for Stumbling, +1 for Hand Movement, 7.8. Good read. It's a Monday, 6.8. Very good read, very efficient. Fast reads are the best, 9.8. Domer says it would have been a 10 with F-bombs. That is true. This is going to be the last time that John tells us about our good friend Steve Apolinski, who has been with us for a long time, and we really are very appreciative of Steve and his support for everything in the SDH universe. We are going to keep the ad up on the website for a while longer, but the read is going to change going forward. Sometimes it'll be like a PSA. Sometimes it'll be for an event. I know, Jason Nix, it's craziness. It's going to change. It's going to mix around. I know everybody's freaking out. I know. Martha, everybody. What? That's how it goes sometimes. That's how business goes. That's how things happen. Yeah. It is evolution. It will be okay. We will all find a way through as we go. Everybody's giving you a 10 now for your last read for Steve Apolinski. All right, Che Adams has checked in for Ryan Christie. That gives them a little bit more of a true 2 up top, and we're underway in the second half. Sean, call me or send me a message first off, actually, because I don't think I have your number, Sean. All right. Scotland trailing 1-0 to the Czech Republic. We are underway in the second half. I don't think there's another mystery game going on. Ricky is freaking out about the news on our change in mid-show read. More opportunities for colorful language, Domer. That is correct.
Actually, we have games going on in Malawi, Rwanda, Georgia, Iran, and a club friendly involving Spartak Moscow,
John, I swear the day that you actually learn to just let it go and stop digging will be a wonderful day. Please find that day. Shot saved by Marshall as the Czechs come plowing through. Scotland is not looking good to start the second half, and they need to look a whole lot better because they need to find 3 points in this game.
Through the legs of the defender, too.
O'Donnell gets the ball, slings Yankto into the ground, no foul called, and the Czechs end up regaining possession. I can't believe that wasn't a foul in the corner. He literally grabs his shirt and slings him down to the ground, no foul, but then they just recover the ball anyway, and Marshall has to make a big save at the near post.
Yeah, they're letting stuff go.
Yes. Save by Marshall. Had to get that one. Oof. Yes, the grown-ups are playing, Nick, but that was kind of a childish move, the grabbing of the shirt and slinging him. It looked like a merry-go-round. Che Adams gets his first touch. It's a nice one. Here comes Scotland. Can they build up a attack here? Looking for the cross. Nope. Robertson tucking inside a little bit more. Adams definitely gives them some more life in the final third. Good ball from Robertson. Goalkeeper gets a hand to it. Off the crossbar. Hendry off the crossbar. It's a good sequence. Adams held it up inside the final third. Robertson with a great cross that Vatslik got to. The layoff to Hendry. He's just trying to pop that into the far corner. Puts it off the crossbar. Really good from Scotland.
Yep, good layoff there. Gave a little bit of space to Hendry. Hendry had more room to work and just knocked it off the crossbar there. Great chance.
Yeah, really good flurry from Scotland, Jason Nix. They're going to have to find more of that, Martha. They have to get 3 points here. They just can't go into the England and Croatia games needing 3 points from one of them.
Yeah.
This is the game to get 3. And for the Czech Republic, it's the game to hold on to 3. And that's going to become more of a thing for them. I don't know how well they'll do sitting back Good ball through. It's really awkward for Vatslik, and he makes another big play. Deflection city in the final third. The 32-year-old from Sevilla is coming up big. It's onside. What happens here? It just deflects. He has to react to it because Dykes is there. Defender's trying to clear as he's falling back and nearly puts it in his own goal.
Yeah. Vatslik with the sky hook to save it there.
Yeah, great reaction from Vatslik. The attempted clearance falling backwards by the defender is not recommended.
No.
Scotland is throwing everything forward right now. It was Callas who just popped it into the air. All right, see if Scotland can find something out of all this. I'll give up a throw. McTominay's late to it. Mazzano asking if Vatslik took a knock to the head from the elbow. I don't think so. He did get up kind of rubbing his head, but I don't know. I don't think so. I know we got a Scottish player down. This is not good. Can't tell what happened. He's at full stretch and kind of goes shin to shin. Hanley.
Looking at the outside of the knee, at least that's where Hanley was pointing.
Flexing his knee. It looked like he went in shin to shin as he was falling. So that's one of the center backs for Scotland in their 3 center back setup. Assuming he's going to continue.
Yeah.
Dykes fighting for it. Scotland's able to regain possession. Hendry with a shot that's blocked, and here comes the Czech Republic with a long-range effort at goal. Oh, what a goal from Patrick Schick.
Oh, man.
To get his head up and spot that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a speculative effort from Hendry at a point where you don't want to turn that over, but the shot's blocked and it just falls into the path of Schick. He gets his head up, spots Marshall way off his line. I mean, Marshall's way up there.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect from Patrick Schick.
That's gorgeous.
It's just a fluky situation where it's a shot that deflects back. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a 2v2. And Schick just says, no, I don't want to run 40 yards. I'm just going to hit it from here. I'm good. Yeah, goal of the tournament right now, no question.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a gut punch after Scotland has been good here in the second half. I mean, you could even argue that Scotland's been the better team in the 53 minutes played so far.
Yeah.
And they're down 2-0. Burned Patrick Schick heard your comments earlier, and he is trying to prove you wrong, sir.
That's a great bend on that ball. Mm.
It's how it goes sometimes. Some players just pop up in these spots, and Patrick Schick gets the goal at the end of the first half, gets a massive goal that'll be shown all over the world here in the second. His 13th for the Czech Republic. At Coco, I mean, now Scotland still needs to try to get something out of this game, but if you get anything out of it, you're happy with it at this point.
Yep.
Marshall was way up high on that, and maybe a little too high, but it's just brilliant from Schick. Yeah, Ricky Jarrett might not be coming back. he might be gone. Shot over the bar from Czech Republic. Scotland's shell shocked right now. Trying to pop that into the far side. Vladimir Darida, 30-year-old from Hertha Berlin. Really disappointed for Scotland.
Yeah. I mean, with all the work that they put in, they've been the better side for most of the first 55, and then you have the game absolutely turn on a moment like that. And you're absolutely correct. It was a gut punch, and now you've just got to sit there and keep working forward to try to get something going here in the final 40 minutes. 35.
Yeah, I mean, Hendry hit the bar in the 48th. To go from there to giving up a goal from midfield is pretty rough. See how long it takes them to pick themselves up here. Yeah, and this is, at home for Scotland as well.
Yes.
Czech player down, Masopust.
Was it 12,000 at Hampton Park today?
Yeah, somewhere, I think it was 12. It's definitely five figures. First game in a major international tournament for Scotland since '98. All right, well worked out to the left. Good cross in, shot blocked at the top of the six. Dyke shot blocked. I mean, Scotland's getting what they want out wide.
Mm-hmm.
Especially down the left with Robertson. '57th minute. It's a good ball in. Nah, Dykes isn't going to get anything there. He does get popped in the back, but he wasn't getting to that header.
Mm-mm.
Two players collide in the backwash. It's a free kick for the Czech Republic. He kept that in. I mean, Dykes is kind of sort of looking for something there. He's not going to get to it. There's a little bit of contact with him and Kufel.
Yeah, but not enough. Dykes did exaggerate it, trying to get a call, trying to get something.
Yeah. So both teams have 3 sub opportunities. The Scots have made 1 sub. Oh, trying to play out of the corner here. I don't know how smart of an idea that is. They get a goal kick. Here's another look at. So it's a shot. It's blocked. It just falls right into the path of Schick. First time. Doesn't even take a touch. Just hits it. I mean, that's such a fluky thing. It's brilliant from Patrick Schick. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's brilliant from him. But it's a fluke that a blocked shot ends up being as nice of an assist as you could possibly find to fall right into his path.
Yeah, I mean, because the defense is focused forward, and when you get something that ricochets like that, and there's not a whole lot of defense there in between you and the opportunity. So we've seen it in other sports and other situations where it'll end up you get something to careen and go the other way, and it's a lot shorter distance to try to get something done, and you end up with a positive there from Schick.
Goal kick again, David Marshall. Scotland wins it and settles. Mizano says if a blocked shot is the assist, does the one getting the block get counted by name on the assist? I'm for it.
Yeah.
It's a reach, but I've seen worse assists given. I doubt they'll give it in this situation. All right, got to get forward. Good work down the left to Robertson. It's just a little too heavy, and then he gives up the goal kick. Blocked the clearance from Galas. Or from Kufel. Not a fan of the Puma numbers that are super narrow. They're a little hard to pick out at times. It is afternoon in Scotland, and the beer could be flowing pretty soon, along with other substances.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if they can make something happen here through Armstrong. Shot deflected over the bar. The deflection could have went anywhere. It comes off the hip, I think. It comes off the knee. It's just barely over the crossbar. Galas made the block. In-swinger from Robertson. Man, they need something badly here. Headed away. Right back in. Adams flicked on. Save again from Vatslik. That's a poor ball in. What is the count now for Vatslik?
I was going to ask how many saves does Vatslik have?
5. Or no. Hold on. No, that's not correct. He's got more than 1. I'm questioning my numbers now that I'm seeing here on SofaScore. I think he's got at least 3 or 4. Sean, don't get John in trouble. Expected goals, if you love the XG, 1.09 for Scotland and 0.4 for Czech Republic, 0.37 if you want to get real specific. I'm assuming the Patrick Schick goal was a very low number on the XG.
Yes.
Cooper and the referee are having a conversation. Yes, the XG, Sean. Absolutely, the XG. All the XG. Good header back from Dykes, falling down. Adams. Not on the same page. Robertson and Dykes. There was a comment earlier in the Twitch pitch about all the people with dyed hair. I guess that is a new trend again.
Yeah, and the link was back to Paul Gascoigne, I want to say, back in '96.
Scotland is not, Lyndon Dykes is not dyeing his hair because of Paul Gascoigne.
And then it's Craig Burley then.
Maybe so.
Because Burley did it in that last tournament.
Yes, Phil Foden dyed his hair, and he plays for England, and Paul Gascoigne played for England, so that's that link. Yes, I think it's just the 90s are back, Nick Alifi. I think that is correct.
Ah,
Trust me, a Scottish player is not dyeing his hair in honor of Paul Gascoigne, even though he did play at Rangers. Czech Republic's just comfortable now. They can just sit, relax, funnel things wide, deal with crosses. Defending in a really organized way right now.
yeah. Scotland trying to.
Sub coming, Callum McGregor. McGinn is trying to fight through 3 Czech Republic players. He gets a foul. Yes, Alex, we can call him Fuzza. I like it. Not Gaza, but Fuzza.
Yes.
Okay, Robertson gets a corner. Sean, I have not heard of 00 near Emory. I must check that out.
What do they do, Sean? What kind of food? What kind of restaurant are we talking about?
They
here?
don't serve furry muffins, that's for sure. Robertson, top of the 6.
Thank the folks for that.
Oh, that's not good from Vatslik, but he ends up getting the rebound. Yeah, please don't serve fuzzy muffins. Italian, oh, very good.
Oh, we like that. That's good stuff.
Just going to leave that one alone. They probably salt their pasta, John.
See, now you're just going to make me like not want to go or not ask.
Again, just going to smile and nod.
Do you salt your pasta, sir?
They would kick you out if you ever said something like that in their establishment.
Oh, and Domer, I like my muffins clean
Oh,
shaven.
shot for what a kick save!
Amazing stuff.
Dykes had an opportunity fall in his lap. Vatslik gets the right foot out.
That's full
Good
stretch.
grief. Vatslik is absolutely doing work, Jason Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Just fell to Dykes. The XG on that's probably like 0.5.
Scotland's going to end this game with an XG of like 6 and lose 3-0, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
They're already at 1.2. I don't think we need to welcome him back after what we're watching. Might have come off the arm. It's a swing and a miss. It falls to Dykes. Left-footed shot. It's a good shot from him. And Vatslik is almost at full stretch.
And here comes your McGregor sub.
You got to do something. You got to give Robertson something on the left side. I don't know what the hell Clark was expecting out of that left side, but you got to do something with that midfield that's been anonymous.
Hendry off, McGregor on, Frazier coming on. What do these changes do, Jarrett?
Well, Hendry comes off, and I'm picking Hendry off just for taking a 30-yard shot for no reason that triggered a counter in the goal of the tournament.
Yeah, so, he hit the crossbar a few minutes before.
He hit the crossbar a few minutes before, but you had possession. You had all the momentum. You got the Czech Republic on their heels, and you pull the trigger from 30-plus yards out, trigger a deflection that leads to the counter. Hell, I was happy when he pulled the trigger from halfway because I thought that's a lower percentage shot than the 2-on-2 he's staring at.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, no.
And then he hit just such the tactical camera on that. I'll watch that on replay all day. That damn ball twisted 30 yards. That was gorgeous.
It was.
Okay, so McGregor and Frazier on for Armstrong and Hendry. Frazier for Armstrong's kind of like for like, but they're going away from
Armstrong
three center backs?
Armstrong has the same heat map that I do today.
He had one run forward and looked all right.
And if you're McGregor's more of a 6, so that's I'm assuming you're going to sit. I don't know. Maybe McTominay's sitting a bit deeper to help.
Is he going to go to the back? Are they going to keep 3 center backs, or are they going to go to a line of 4 in the back?
I'm wondering if they go to a line of 4, but I mean, it's at this point you're asking McGregor to sit in front of that line of 4 and asking other guys to get forward. I'm assuming you're asking McGregor to kind of be that man. Be that man in front of the back line.
Quickly, it looks like a line of 4. It looks like Cooper slid over to left back.
Yeah, and then Robertson up the field.
Yeah.
You got to do something. And you got 20 minutes left. Go figure something out.
Yeah.
You very easily could have 3 goals in this half already.
Yeah, no, I mean they're playing well. That's what is rough about it is they've played pretty well.
Shea Adams just done exactly what I hoped he would do when he came on, which was give you that athleticism. Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah, Cooper
come on, Cal.
Can't get anywhere.
Just give you that athleticism running off of the shoulder of Dykes. I want Dykes to keep his feet better. Just because there are times where he goes up for a ball and I don't know how he ends up going down so easily sometimes.
He was trying to draw a penalty. He wasn't getting to the one that was the cross. I think Dykes has been pretty good.
No, he has. That's what frustrates me about those few moments is otherwise he's been good. He should have had a goal there a second ago. He put the ball in the right spot. Keeper just went full ballerina on him. Nice throw in.
Scotland needing something here. Getting numbers down the right side. Can they get the cross in? No, they run out of room. Frazier just can't turn.
I don't know
corner.
what else you do with subs here if you're Scotland. I mean, you might bring on more attacking guys just to say, hey, we're going to go for it.
I mean, What do you have left in the attack? You got Gilmore and Turnbull.
I believe Gilmore's on.
No, Gilmore's not on, I don't think.
I thought he came on at half.
No, Che Adams came on at half.
Yeah, but I thought he came on as well. No. Okay, I'm mistaken. You got Gilmore, you got Fraser Forster, James Forrest. Forrester's an English keeper.
Yeah, I was confused.
You got James Forrest on the right if you want to bring in the reviews on O'Donnell from the Scottish media have not been good. Very much he is apparently not ready for this stage is the Scottish take.
Yeah, 29-year-old from Motherwell. I mean, in a line of four, he makes a little more sense.
Yeah, that's the thing is now that you're line of four, if you do make the change for a guy like Forrest, you're asking him to play right wing up top without any defensive work, which is fine.
Okay, opportunity as they keep it in the final third here. Good header out. I mean, the Czechs are just sitting back. They're just going to sit back and defend at this point.
They're doing a good job of it. They're doing exactly what they have to do.
Yeah, they're doing all right. XG's 1.56 to 0.37.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you get a really well-taken header and then what's going to be the goal of the tournament. I don't know how you top that unless somebody literally sombreros and then juggles their way through an entire 11. Unless Maradona comes out and somebody gives you goal of the century again. I don't know how you're going to top that.
A couple of changes coming for the Czech Republic. New viewer Lipris comes in and asks about thoughts on Sweden and Spain. I just want to see the disruptions that Spain had with positive tests and dealing with it and missing Sergio Busquets. I want to see what they look like in the early going today. Like for me in that one, I'm really watching the first 15 closely for Spain to see how comfortable they look because that's not the ideal preparation. And it's a weird thing, but I think you have to look at how they physically look as well. They did have their first round of vaccine shots just a couple of days ago. Do they have anybody with lingering effects? Do they have anybody who just is sluggish? That first 15 minutes could tell you a lot, and I think the first 15 of the second half could tell you a lot as well.
Juice boxes, for the record, north of plus 900 now for Sweden, so it has gone up during the show.
I'm not necessarily against that. If I have a stinky
is
juice
the
box
Ageless
maybe.
Wonder starting for Sweden?
No, he's not there.
Oh, I couldn't remember if he was there or not.
No, recovering from
quiet.
knee issues. Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have to start Shea Adams, but Dykes up top against England.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you need to start those two up top and just be direct and sit and try to steal something out of it. But, because, I mean, look, if you're going to look at the two, I think Croatia is the better opportunity for Scotland to get 3 points. So, you try to stay alive against England, and then you just all guns blazing against Croatia.
Yeah.
The knee injury for Zlatan is what's keeping him out.
He's busted open.
Yep.
Yeah,
Took a hand to the face.
Yep, hand on the way back as they were both going up for the ball.
Got a bit of red on him.
He got slapped pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
As you can just imagine my frustration watching the first part of the second half as ball off the post, bouncing ball, the keeper has to lunge back and tip away.
Mm-hmm.
Goal of the tournament, shot that's on target, deflected, and just floats harmlessly over the crossbar when, oh yeah, show me the other first goal again. That's what I need to see. That's healthy.
They're showing the other one too. Don't worry.
It's so beautiful. I'm not even mad at that one. It's such a beautiful goal.
So Václav, the goalkeeper for the Czechs, is going to be available on a free at the end of the month. Looking for a 32-year-old goalkeeper? He might be somebody you want to call.
I dare say, do it, Rangers.
What did they put on
Rangers
his head?
keeper
Where
this year was
hold on a second.
Years old. So
what did they put on his head where it was bleeding? Like a black dot?
maybe
That's
don't know what that is.
I've never seen
did they put
treatment
tar
like that.
on his head?
That's a new one. The trainers for the Czech Republic have new techniques that I've never seen. A black round Band-Aid.
This is amazing. I love this.
I've never seen those. Mazzano? Very nice. Whatever works.
I mean, I've seen super glue and I've seen like traditional Band-Aids, but that's the first time I've seen something like that.
Yeah, never seen that.
Surprised me he's not getting the blooded head wrap like he's a drummer in the Civil War.
Oh,
Yes, the American Revolution. Yes.
Yeah.
Marshall grabs the cross. Can Scotland find a goal to make this a furious finish? 76th minute. They're running out of time to do it.
I like the fight they've had. It's just they've created the chances, especially in the second half. I think you have unfortunately found it in a wrong situation, but you found what you need to do for the rest of this tournament, especially against Croatia. Which Scotland playing direct also sort of helps that they can, Croatia's got a great midfield. Scotland, full galaxy brain. No, we're just going to skip the midfield.
Yeah, they'll have to skip that whole part of the field if they can. Thank you, YouTube. But YouTube says some of the Band-Aids like that are made of stretchier material with coagulant built in.
Oh, wow.
You learn something new on Soccer Down here for watch-alongs. Free kick for Scotland. That Patrick Schick goal, 49.7 yards out, is the furthest distance from which a goal has been scored on record at the Euros since 1980. If you want to throw some salt in that wound, Jarrett.
I'm going to have to reiterate this because apparently no one believes me. I'm not mad at that finish. It's beautiful. I'm mad about Hendry pulling the trigger from 30 yards when he had no business doing it.
McTominay over the bar. Yeah, I mean, he hit the crossbar before, and he's like, I'll have another go at this.
Yeah, but he had a clean look at the crossbar. He didn't have a clean look on that shot.
No, I know. It's fluky, though. I mean,
it's fluky, but it's you don't want to do something that's going to create that turnover in that situation when you've got bodies forward.
It's true.
And you've been playing really well with the ball. You've been creating chances. Cycle the ball. If they gave you a clean lane to shoot, go for it, man. But you had a forest of bodies. You were shooting through Mirkwood.
Kevin Nisbet is going to check in. Tell us about Kevin Nisbet.
Let's see where he slots in.
I was going to say, that's a good start.
Nisbet is at Hibs. He's 24. He's a forward who last season, 33 games, 14 goals for Hibs.
If he comes in on the right side.
Couple of assists. At Hibs, he's mostly a central guy, but he looks like he's pretty mobile. Just taking a quick glance. So, I don't know if Dykes is starting to run out of gas or if they're going to make a bolder change.
Make a bold change. Go for
Forrest.
Are you just yelling out names, or did you see Forrest getting ready to come in?
I saw him getting ready to come in.
Okay, thank you.
He's also very enjoyable because he is like 5'-2".
Okay. Well, he'll be on the right.
So Forrest for O'Donnell.
Probably.
That's the move I would have done at halftime, to be honest. I understand that you didn't want to necessarily because you thought, well, it's 1-0. We don't want to give up a cheap second goal because we go too far forward at halftime. But yeah, also James Forrest is similar to Miguel Almiron in the sense that when he's running, it's very obvious that he's the one who's running. He has a very funny running style.
So Forrest will go over to the right back. Nisbet goes up top for Dykes, like for like.
His arms will flail out and his shoulders will hunch up, and he runs much like a troll.
So, I mean, this is the absolute go-for-it move, right, Jarrett? Because Forrest is an attacking option on the right side. He's probably at right back-ish, but he's going to
push forward, and you're just going to switch to a three-man back line. Everybody's going to shift. Callum McGregor is probably going to hang back as your guy sitting in front of the back line, a la your Jeff Larenowitzes of the world, if you'll need like a reference.
Actually, it looks like McTominay is slotted into a right center back spot. So now it is kind of back to the three center backs, but McTominay is on the right side. He'll push up when he gets the opportunities to. Robertson will go flying forward. Forrest will go flying forward on the right. So, yeah, it is just this is the best group that we have at the moment. We're going to get as many bodies forward as we possibly can. That's where you're at.
We'll hit a long diagonal out of bounds. That's always fun.
Yeah, those you try to avoid.
Yeah. I'm going to be really curious to see how the Czechs do in this right here, holding the ball and being comfortable in possession up 2 goals, not getting squirrely, not committing any turnovers, not putting themselves into trouble.
Well, this is where they're comfortable. It's where they're pushed back and they have to defend from deep that I don't think they're as comfortable. That's nice from McGinn to get there and keep it. And then, he tries to get a foul. He's not going to get that. Not the way the refs called it. He's been consistent. Nice save from Marshall. Schick almost had the hat trick.
I mean, that's shoulder to shoulder on McGinn anyway. I mean, I'm fine with him not calling that. Yeah. He's got to keep this. He's got to know how this game's getting called.
Right. Looking for Nisbet. Too much. Yeah, McTominay's going to have to push forward more out of this now in the 81st.
You're going to be playing with 2 in the back.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. This is the
get McTominay pushing forward, drop 2 in the back, and have somebody sit in front if you need to. At this point, losing 3-0 it's fine. This is fun though because we still get 2 more games today. So even if this one doesn't end with a happy ending, there's still 2 more games to watch today, and then you get considering we have a large Atlanta contingent,
4 more games.
Miguel will be on tonight.
4 more games. You're Euro snobbing me, Jarrett.
No. I was building up to that. And let me finish.
Okay.
So you have 2 more games here, and then
there we go. There's the modifier.
Yes.
Then tonight,
games.
For all you Atlanta fans.
No, games was not the modifier. It was here.
Our tiny ostrich boy is playing tonight.
Yes, 4 more opportunities to disappoint Jarrett. That is true, Domer.
It'll be okay. It's not the end of the world.
Poland, Slovakia could end up in a drunken fist fight, Coco says.
I'm good with that. Give me more of those. I like drunken fist fights.
Byrne says, the bad news for Scotland is that the Czech Republic is not that great themselves. They lost 4-0 to Italy a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens, though, when you give up a really nicely delivered ball and a golazo, though.
Yeah, I mean, Scotland's been the better team.
Yes.
I'm very comfortable in saying that, and it's not because of the XG. I think they've just been the better team, and they give up a goal on a recycled set piece that they didn't defend well, and then they give up a golazo. That's a kind of a fluky moment all the way around, and Vatslik has had some big saves the other way. Scotland's been good, just not getting the moments that they need.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been much funnier if you have Scotland with 2 goals on the board. We have some 2-2 drunk fest at 9 a.m.
Oh, for sure. Nisbet trying to get there. He got there to keep it. I like what Nisbet's brought already. Good switch here.
Hibs were not a pushover.
Good
Hibs
switch.
did get some of the SDH magic this year.
A little bit. Forrest, another deflection.
James Forrest also just very much one of those, I'm going to tap the ball and I'm going to run faster than you at times.
He has good footwork inside the 18 on this. I mean, he creates a good look for himself.
He missed most of the year for Celtic, and that was a huge miss for them on the right side. It's a big hole when he's not able to be out there on the right and to create.
Corner, backside. That's easy for Vatslik. Yeah, Forrest, that was good to create that opportunity. It's just another deflection.
Hey, Jeff's done a great job of putting their bodies on the line.
Ricky, no, and trust me, I'm not saying. Ricky says, does being the better team matter in tournament play? I mean, it does, because you're not going to win many games when you're not the better team. Let's be real. Like, more often than not, the better team wins. It's not going to make you feel any better if you go home and you were the better team in 3 games. But right. Scotland has played well. I don't have a problem with the way they've played. But they're going to end up losing, and that's going to change everything they do in the next 2 games. Instead of playing more for draws against 2 better teams, they're going to have to try to find a way to win one of those if they want to advance.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, realistically, the better team wins more games than they lose.
And Croatia and Czech Republic, Croatia, sets up to be a really fun game if you get chalk the rest of the way. Because that game could be, you could be looking at that game saying that might decide who finishes second in the group.
It could.
And who ends up dodging, who finishes second, who finishes third, and then has to hope that you did enough to get one of the third place spots. And it could come down to matchups to see which side of the bracket.
Good ball from Robertson. Back across. They just can't find that final opportunity in the 18. Or it gets deflected when they do find the opportunity.
He tried to just bounce it over to Shea.
Frazier's been good since he came on. I think Nisbet's been pretty good. Shea Adams has been very good since he came on. I mean, it brings up the questions that I'm sure are going to be asked of Steve Clark. Did he get the lineup wrong to start with?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if it's one of those things where you didn't have Kieran Tierney to do what you wanted to do, and I wonder if he just said, well, we're just going to patch over that and then run out what we would usually do. But it doesn't work the same way, because your left center back isn't Kieran Tierney in that instance, who can get forward and pull defenses apart and make underlapping and overlapping runs with your left back, or left wing back, excuse me.
You're not as dynamic without Kieran Tierney playing as a left center back, where he can be a surprise weapon going forward. Big collision, free kick for the Czech Republic.
I'm good. I'll be happier with Schick if he go score against England. Make sure you get the entire British Isles as much as you can.
And we'll go ahead and hit the tour. Is kind of his tournament. I mean, it happens where you get these moments where somebody, it just grabs the tournament and it becomes their moment. He's coming out now. No hat trick for Patrick Schick, but he's got the goal of the tournament so far.
And I know that DM Tim is not happy about that.
Yes, I think DM Tim went to find some juice boxes on a hat trick.
Yes.
Byrne says when you don't have the quality, like this one specifically with Scotland, you can't afford to fall behind. It's all about that first goal. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you've got to capitalize on being the better team, for sure. It's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of how crazy these games can swing back and forth, sometimes with multiple swings. And in this case with Scotland, I mean, they give up the goal. They were the better team marginally in the first half. They give up the goal. They then come out in the second half, and they're by far the better team to start the second half, and then give up a goal completely against the run of play. Mm-hmm. And since then, I mean, then the game's different. Then the game
let's say it's game state.
Then it's 63-37 on possession.
Freudian slip. But Scotland's dominating. Well, Czech Republic's going to be happy to let them have the ball and have possession.
Right.
Because they're up 2-0.
Right. That's where everything changes, but sometimes that's how these games go, and it drives you crazy. But welcome to soccer. That's just what it is.
Oh, Maxie telling me Maxie saying that's not the goal of the tournament. Come on, yes it is.
What? That's the goal of the tournament.
Great goal cannot be denied, but that was a result of a goalkeeper losing his bearings. Well, the goalkeeper was out because he's expecting his defender to not shoot the ball from 30 yards and trigger a counter, and then Yeah, that's the goal of the tournament because he shot the ball almost half the length of a football field. Half the length of a football field.
Yeah, it's
of course, that's the goal of the tournament.
That's the goal of the tournament. Marshall's
We're
little
trying to
too
overly qualify stuff. It's
Right.
unnecessary. Cool. Here's your attention you ordered. It's in the bag. The napkins are in there too.
Marshall's a little too high up the field. I think he is caught a little bit there, but yes, it's a brilliant goal from Schick. He gets his head up. He takes it first time.
It's an absolutely insane goal.
Yeah. It's the goal of the tournament. There might be a better one. I mean, it's not saying it will absolutely be the goal of the tournament. So far, it's the goal of the tournament.
This is a thing we do in every tournament, by the way. Everyone does it. We always watch and go, oh, well, there's the goal of the tournament right there, until something better comes along. It's fun to do.
Yes.
I'm sorry if you don't like having fun and you want to be a contrarian about it. That's a you problem.
Welcome to social media, Jarrett.
Jesus.
Enjoy your stay.
I won't. I'm going to go complain to the front desk and get some more towels.
That's exactly where I thought you were going.
The wheels have fallen off for Scotland. They almost give up a chance, almost give up a goal. Coco, sometimes we try to have fun. Yes, it's true. Sometimes. Sometimes people don't like fun. Sadly. 90th minute. Jarrett, this hasn't been a lot of fun for Scotland.
No, it hasn't been, but they've played well and they fought well. God knows it's not like they didn't create chances.
Yeah.
And didn't leave goals on the board. So, it's ball back to middle. Nobody there. Nobody in the midfield because there's just a crippling disconnect between the midfield and the strikers right now.
Yeah. Oof. Big save from Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just at this point, too, like after you have that flurry with the subs and you got forced opportunity, I mean, you're out of gas. They're gonna try, especially some of the subs are gonna try to make something happen, but you're out of gas. You're down 2-0. You're getting into the stoppage time. I mean, it happens. 4 saves for Vatslik. I thought he had more than that. Yeah, they only got him with 4.
Okay.
Oh, so now we're calling fouls on shoulder to shoulder. Oh, that's interesting.
It's the
90th minute. It doesn't matter. It's the 90th minute, but come on, man.
Yeah.
You guys have been going shoulder to shoulder for both teams all day.
18 shots for Scotland, only 4 on target. 10 blocked shots. That is a large number. 2 big chances missed. They hit the woodwork once. They had 2 shots on counters. 13 shots inside the box.
A lot of blocks.
Numbers that'll drive you insane if you're Scotland.
Yeah. Here's a breakdown from one of the Scottish writers of right wing back selection, not starting Adams and prioritizing physicality over creativity in the midfield, areas that backfired for Scotland.
Yeah, Adams is the one to me that feels like the biggest issue. Like, I get the O'Donnell one. I don't love it, but I get it. The Adams one, I think he should have started for Christie. Christie had the one moment out wide where he beat a couple on the dribble, and outside of that, he was pretty anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And Shea Adams, I mean, he's not anonymous. You know, even when he's not getting a lot of service, he's active, and that's what it felt like with Christie. I'm trying to look to see how many touches he had. 21 touches. I mean, here's and both have played a half. So Christie with 21 touches, Adams with 19. But Adams has created 3 chances. Christie created 1. Adams makes more out of what he gets, it feels like. So from a chances created standpoint, Robertson's created 5. Adams in a half has created 3, including 2 big chances. McGregor 1, McGinn 1, Cooper 1, Christie 1, O'Donnell 1, Armstrong 1. So that's 14 chances created and no goals for Scotland. Again, numbers that'll drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And numbers that you'll be happy, I think, with everything that went going on if you're with the Czech Republic. I mean, it's not a perfect game for you. You had 2 fantastic moments, and you get 3 points out of it, and you're in really good shape for the rest of the tournament here. So just a dream if you're the Czech Republic.
100%. I mean, they've been outplayed. They've created 8 chances to 14. They haven't had as much of the ball, but again, game state plays into that. You know, they got a great performance from their number 9, Schick, up top, and they are going to get out of here with a win. And in a group where both of these teams are kind of playing for third place, for a third place advancement, 3 points in this is critical because now the Czech Republic can keep it tight against the 2 favored teams in the group and maybe get through, especially if they steal a point. Scotland's got to go win one of the games against the 2 favored teams in the group.
Yep.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, off the back of the head. DM Tim says, Czechs are winning the group. Mark my words.
Is he putting juice boxes on that, Tim?
I don't know. I'm not goading
him
him
into
be
that drunk.
Mark his words. I think Vatslik is trying to find a new way to waste time.
That's impressive. I mean, hey, man, you're trying to get out of here now. You don't want to give up a goal.
He walked around.
Goal difference might matter.
He walked around and did the chicken dance, I think, after he said somebody stepped on him.
Somebody stepped on his toe. I think his teammate stepped on his toe.
Yeah. That was an interesting move there. Corner in. Nobody's there. That should do it.
Yep.
Czech Republic gets the 2-0 win. They go to the top of the group for now.
Hey, imagine if they beat Croatia this week.
Yeah.
Just they play Croatia, get outshot like 25-2 and win 1-0.
Patrick Schick with 2 goals. The Czechs go to the top of the group with the +2. England's next. They each have a win. Friday, Scotland and England play, and then Czech Republic plays Croatia. Is that also on Friday?
Yes. Croatia, Czech Republic's at noon, and England, Scotland is at 3.
So that even adds a little bit of extra pressure to it for Scotland here, because let's say Czech Republic gets a draw with Croatia, then Scotland's really got to go all guns blazing.
Mm-hmm. It might be a situation. They might have to go all guns blazing against England anyway. I mean, it's
kind of. I mean, it's one of those things, and underdog teams get into this spot all the time where you have to pick your battles. Like, this was a battle Scotland had to go for, and they did. I mean, they did. They did enough to win the game, but they didn't convert, so they didn't. So now it's like, okay, if that one happens, so let's say it's a draw and Czech Republic's on 4 points. Then you're going up against the team on 3. You're on 0. You've got to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go for it because you don't want to get into a shootout with Croatia in the final game.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Byrne says in games between these lower to mid-level teams, individual quality matters a lot. There's not enough overall quality on either side to overwhelm the other team. Yeah, sometimes
Scotland does not have that killer striker.
Right.
I mean, they just don't.
Sometimes positional group quality can overcome it. You see it occasionally where it's like, well, this team has like a really good midfield pair or a really good center back pair or, something to build on. These two just feel really even. I mean, when you're looking at the clubs, like, yeah, you might say, oh, well, Scotland's got Robertson and McTominay at Liverpool and Manchester United, but Czech Republic, a player we didn't really mention very much, Souček, is at West Ham and was probably their best player this season, one of their best.
Yep.
You've got 2 key players in Schick and Dorita in the Bundesliga. Hertha Berlin, who wasn't the greatest this year, at Leverkusen for Schick. Got a bunch of players at Slavia Prague who made a deep run in Europa League. So, maybe not quite as much bright lights with the Czech Republic roster, but they're a little more, in this case, I feel like they were a little more coherent in the match, whereas Scotland was better but not as stable at times.
Something that some Scottish fans will know very well, if just didn't have someone to finish and put the ball in the back of the net after build-up. I've heard that before.
Yep, been there, done that. Burned, I do not believe he is on this roster. Last time, Borek Dokol, who played for Philadelphia Union, 32 years old, he's back at Sparta Prague. Last time he played for the national team was November of 2020 against Slovakia, so it's been a minute. So he's kind of fallen out of it. I guess the age has caught up to him a little bit. They've gotten younger in that midfield. Okay, other news of the day. Let's see what we have here. You got the other games later, so just for your soccer viewing habits the rest of the day. Noon, Poland and Slovakia. 3 o'clock, Spain and Sweden. 5 o'clock, Argentina and Chile. 8 o'clock, Paraguay and Bolivia. You've also got playoffs in Colombia if you want to get really crazy at 8 o'clock with La Equidad and Jose Hernandez, former Atlanta United player, and Tolima. Oh, we got a raid from IDJ. What's up, IDJ and folks? Thanks for coming and hanging out. We're kind of wrapping up everything from Scotland and the Czech Republic and also looking ahead at the rest of the day, getting caught up on the news and rumors and innuendo. John, you were saying that it looks like Tottenham will have a manager by the middle of the week.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Paulo Fonseca. The announcement looks like it's headed toward Wednesday. And so Fonseca and Spurs, we've been talking about it over the last week or so. And Spurs trying to find a manager. Looks like they found him. And it looks like that he will be presenting the scarf at the unsponsored Spurs Stadium on Wednesday.
Okay. Jarrett, does this move make you excited about Tottenham going forward? Pretty much. Thanks. Yeah, kind of me
Spurs
too.
did a thing.
It's not bad.
They did a thing.
It could have been worse.
Yes.
It definitely could have went worse, but it's okay. We'll see if Fonseca is better being in England and our pal Jose is better being in Italy. It could have went worse. Diego Rossi still being linked now with moves to Tottenham and Everton. Do you think Rossi makes the move, Jarrett?
I think LAFC should, unless they're going to lock him up for a contract, they should probably want him to make the move, yeah?
I would think so. Do you think he does well in England if that's the move for him?
I think if he's in the right situation, he can. Whether that's the right situation, I don't know.
We don't know what the situation is at Everton, by the way.
Yeah, so I was going to say we don't know who the head coach is.
That's why we don't know. But I'd like to think he can. I think he's talented as all get out. I know there will always be the question of like, can he handle the physicality, that sort of thing.
Can he make the adjustment?
Yes,
I think he'll be okay in that. They do kick people a good bit in Uruguay. I think he'll be all right. Just to rub it in a little bit more, Jarrett, the XG for Patrick Schick's goal, 0.01.
And that's why it's goal in the tournament, Maxie.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, okay. Jarrett's still fired up about that one. ESPN alerts.
It came across to me like an attention-grabbing, that's not goal of the tournament. Okay, we see you.
That's not that good of a goal.
You.
It really is. It's pretty nice. It's a good goal.
It's pretty sweet.
It's a good goal. It's nice. ESPN is reporting that Conrad de la Fuente, or just Conrad, could be headed to Marseille and Jorge Sampaoli. If he's not going to play at Barcelona, he needs to go somewhere. And Jorge Sampaoli is a good manager, even if he's a little bit crazy at times. It'd be a great move for Conrad. It'd be a great move for the national team. He could be a player who pops into that mix for the U.S. men's national team out of nowhere if he can get consistent playing time because he's not breaking through at Barcelona, so he's got to go play somewhere.
And speaking of Barcelona, this is from Mundo Deportivo. Barcelona, we know that they kind of need money.
Yes, they need money.
And it appears that Leicester is in the process of offering £20 million for Coutinho to get Coutinho off of Barcelona's books.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen here is cut rate deals being offered to them, and they might take it because, yeah, it gets the salary off, and it gives them a little bit of change. If they're not counting on him for next season, do it. Get what you can, get as much as you can, and get him out the door. Umtiti is another one who is reportedly going to be sold by Barcelona, who is, yeah, I mean, they're looking at guys on free transfers, and they're looking to sell whatever they can sell. Yeah, that's just where they are right now. For Leicester, I mean, sure, you're going to have to pay a pretty big salary with Coutinho, but if you get him and he finds a way to stay healthy, then, yeah, you're in a good spot.
Yeah. And then
Who is reporting that one, by the way?
Mundo Deportivo.
Okay. That can be 50-50. That can be a little crazy sometimes.
And Gigi Buffon looks like he's returning to Parma.
Going back where it all started. Makes sense at this stage in his career. Parma going down to Serie B. That's a good move all the way around. That is a feel-good move. It's a good move for Parma to kind of rebuild where they're at with their ownership. And Buffon gets the proper kind of goodbye where he started. That's a good move all the way around. I like that.
2-year deal, apparently. So he would be there until he is 45 years old.
What did you think of... go ahead.
Do you want an on this date?
Sure, we'll take it on this date. What do we have?
On this date in 2014, Eric Winalda went to RSL. Won 2-1 in the U.S. Open Cup 4th round with the Silverbacks before 5,000 fans. Junior Burgos and Poku scored.
At Silverbacks Park, it was a late goal from Kwadwo Poku. It was a really fun night at
Could not
Silverbacks
find a
Park.
place to park to save your life, and the backup on the freeway was amazing.
You act like you're surprised you couldn't find a place to park at Silverbacks Park.
About to say.
Like, that's any there were more than 1,000 people there.
Silverbacks Park,
Yeah.
and you can't find parking.
Yeah, that's any day that ends in a Y. That was a fun night. That was a really fun night and a huge win. Probably the biggest win in Silverbacks modern history, and one of the biggest wins that the franchise ever had. I mean, it was huge, and it was a late goal from Poku where I think he just had space in the middle of the park and kind of drove forward, got a shot from around the top of the 18, if I remember right, and buried it. That was very cool. Yeah, that was a fun night. That was definitely a fun night. Nick says Buffon will have 2 statues built for him if he gets Parma back to Serie A.
No doubt.
Could have built statues for him like he's a Roman legionary.
Couple things from the
statues everywhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Couple things from the weekend that we haven't touched on as of yet. Mexico had their friendly here in Atlanta against Honduras, over 70,000 people there. Mexico didn't exactly look that great. They drew with Honduras, and Mexico is now in a situation where, what did they do in their 3 games? So the U.S. took their 3 games like a group, is the way they wanted to do it, like for World Cup qualifying coming up. And the U.S. did what they got results in each of their 3 games that they played. 2 of them in Nations League semifinals, the other one in a friendly. What did Mexico get? They got a draw, so they got 1 result, and they won on penalties against Costa Rica. They got a draw, and they lost to the U.S. in extra time. And they got a draw against Honduras. That's not great. That's not good for Tata.
And then before that, it was a 2-1 win over Iceland.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Sorry, we're talking about the CONCACAF opponents and the 3 games in a week, like you're going to do in World Cup qualifying. It's not good right now for Mexico, and they're freaking out, and they're talking about getting Rogelio Funes Mori lined up to be a naturalized Mexican player and getting him in the mix. Jason Nick says Tata saying the form hasn't dipped, just results. It sounds like coach speak. I mean, it is. It is, but I think the form has dipped a little bit. I think the U.S. has caught up talent-wise. It's a lot closer than it was. I'm not going to say that the U.S. has passed Mexico until they beat them regularly. 1 win, it doesn't mean anything. It means the gap's closer. The Mexico results with Costa Rica and Honduras are the ones that are troubling if you're the Mexican media. And the chirping is starting. There's been questions about, what are people going to say? What are they going to think? How's it going to go? Is he getting heat? He's getting heat. he's going to get heat. I mean, this is
He's the coach of Mexico. He's going to get heat no matter what.
Yeah, he's going to get heat if he shouldn't get heat. But I think in this case, he kind of has to get some heat. Now, one thing I did want to touch on with Tata Martino, they did the pre-match press conference like they always do in these situations, and a lot of media on the call, obviously. I asked Tata Martino about the article from The Athletic and just said, look, there was an article about issues between you and the Atlanta front office. I wanted to get a comment from you about your time in Atlanta. And translated, his quote was, "As I said when I left, we spent with the technical staff 2 marvelous years of work at an impressive club with all the possibilities to do a good job. They opened the doors to us. We had a great relationship with the people there, and we value our 2 years. We learned what the MLS is all about and to value the competition, and we were able to work with an impressive group of footballers." Sounds like he still has very positive feelings about his time in Atlanta. I've already seen people saying, like, well, if he leaves Mexico, is he going to come back to Atlanta? I mean, I think he would, but I don't think he's going to because I don't think he wants that grind. I don't think it's an issue. If that doesn't happen, which I would not expect to happen, it's because he doesn't want the grind of a club job.
Yeah.
He is happy with what he is doing currently, but he was also happy with his time in Atlanta, and I think that's important for him to reiterate in that situation.
And, looking at, and just from an atmospheric perspective, I mean, to see 70,000 people going to this match with Mexico and Honduras at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I mean, it's great to see that many people back in a building. And when they said, now, I want to say that the facilities folks said that these parking lots and structures weren't going to be open until 3 o'clock, which was 5 hours before the match was supposed to begin. And because of just the sheer crowds that were associated with this event, they had to open up the Gulch early. They had to open up all the parking structures early, and the crowds were absolutely amazing. But it was great to see that kind of a moment here in Atlanta as well, even though it didn't end up the way that any fan of El Tri would have liked in a goalless draw. And you have what we've been talking about the last couple of minutes. It was great to see that kind of an atmosphere here in Atlanta with Mexico and Honduras, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to take it for granted if you've been to games at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for Atlanta United, and it's like, yeah, it's a great crowd because the Atlanta soccer crowd's a great crowd. It was fun to watch it on TUDN and hear how many times you're like, wow, the home of Atlanta United, and wow, this is amazing. I mean, it was a celebration. It was a party, and that's what you would expect in that situation, the first game with a huge crowd back. The game didn't lend itself to that. The game wasn't very good for Mexico. It was open. Honduras had their chances, too. I mean, it was a fun watch, but the atmosphere was a party atmosphere and a friendly. And I think this is something that maybe gets a little confusing. Like, you're not going to have negative stuff in the crowd, Jason Nix, during a friendly. I've been to Mexico friendlies at the Dome, the Venezuela friendly a long time ago, 2009, the Nigeria friendly. The friendlies are parties because there's nothing on the line. The problems with the game against Panama was because it was a semifinal. It was a Gold Cup semifinal, and that's why the chant is a difficult one to deal with, because you don't see it in friendlies. It's not done in friendlies. It's done in games where there's something on the line. It's done in those moments. It's done for effect. It's done by some people because they don't care. They're not doing it because they're just out-and-out racists who are saying something racist any opportunity they get. They're saying it to try to affect the goalkeeper or affect the game, and that's the hardest thing to deal with. But the throwing of things and stuff like that doesn't happen in friendlies so much. Now, a U.S.-Mexico friendly is a different conversation because of the rivalry. But a game with Honduras, the rivalry is not where it was, or it's not where the U.S. rivalry is. The friendly there is going to be a party. Ricky, it might have popped up from some numpties in Mexico, Venezuela, a year ago, 2 years ago at least. Sure, it could have popped up, and you're going to get people who will do it because they're at an event and they get to do it. Oh, look at us, we're the bad guys, and then it gets shut down pretty fast. When it's done repeatedly to the point that you're going to have an issue with the protocols of warning and then stopping and those things, that's going to happen in games that matter. Sadly, it's going to happen in those more often. It's easier to shut out in a friendly because people are just doing it to do the "hey, look at me" thing. But it's going to take time, as we've talked about many times. All that stuff's going to take time to get rid of. And, this game on Saturday, no problems with the crowd. It was just a fun night, packed place, big party, and not a great result for Mexico. And I wonder where they are once we get into September into World Cup qualifiers, because that's not where they want to be right now coming out of this. Abby, no, I wouldn't do it that way. I think that's actually the wrong approach. Abby says if we ever hear it, we need to just start chanting wrong, wrong, wrong. No, I wouldn't do that, because then people are going to block you out even more. Just yell over it. Cheer over it. Like, do something over it. I thought what England fans did yesterday, when you did have some idiots try to start booing when English players took a knee, just drown them out.
Yep.
Drown them out with cheers. And that's what happened, and that's what should happen. Just drown it out. You're not going to convince them at this point that they're wrong, because they don't want to listen. If they're still doing things at this point, when in the English situation, the FA and the players have made it abundantly clear exactly why they are doing what they are doing and for what reasons. If you're booing them at this point, you're not going to listen. If people are still doing the chant at Mexico games when the players and the federation and the league and the clubs have all made it clear this is not acceptable because of X, Y, and Z, you're not going to convince them they're wrong at a stadium. So just drown them out.
Be more positive.
Just drown it out. And yes, if it is a supporters group situation and it happens, point them out and absolutely get them taken out. I totally agree with that. But you're not going to have the debate with them at that point. Just drown them out.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else like that. And I know that was a thing at the first Atlanta United game, and it took like a game or two to get it drowned out. That's not acceptable here. And I think I've maybe heard it one time at a match since then, at an Atlanta United match. And again, that's a numpty who is trying to get attention.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the thing, is just, yeah, I would be in that situation, be more positive. And like you saw with the English fans, where they're showing more support and they're being louder, and you could hear that coming through on the TV broadcast. It's just be more positive in that situation, because, I mean, if you try to tell somebody something, they're not going to listen. If they're locked into this idea and it's a bad idea, you try to tell them something, it's like, you don't do that. They're gonna continue to go the other way. So just continue to do the right thing in that situation.
Jarrett, final thoughts before we start to wrap up?
Group should be a lot of fun going forward with England, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Scotland, since that's one we just finished up with. Should be really fun the rest of the day. Enjoy it, y'all. It's the summer of soccer. Even if you don't have a dog in the fight, it should be some fun games. Allegedly, this noon game might just be an all-out beatdown.
Drunken fist fight is how I heard.
Drunken fist fight, thank you. Might get a drunken fist fight. I'm excited to see how Spain looks.
Me too.
I feel like we've been waiting a long time for Spain to turn back into Spain. But we'll see. And then, games this evening in South America. No, I'm not neglecting the Western Hemisphere. I'm not being a Euro snob about this. Games in the West.
It's my job.
You were being one earlier. It's true. That's okay.
Because I'm thinking about the immediate right now.
I know.
This is what I have through lunchtime, and it's amazing. But it should be a lot of fun the rest of the way. As the first round of games clear up, we'll get a better idea of how the groups look, and we might have some that are going to come down to really dumb. Oh well, we got 2 teams playing. We got 4 teams playing on the last round of games, and maybe we get one of these groups where who's going through and who's not going through changes 2 or 3 times in the scope of the game. Be a lot of fun for everybody.
Depending on which XG component you are looking at, the final numbers are somewhere between 2.2 and 2.3 for Scotland and 0.9-ish for the Czech Republic.
What'd the scoreboard say?
2-0 Czech Republic.
Because that's what matters.
It does. But I think what is a shame here is Scotland played well. They didn't get anything to show for it, and now they've got to play even better against the two best teams to get a historic win, because that's what it's going to take. You're going to be looking to get a win and some help to go through as a third-place team, because 4 points out of the next two against England and Croatia, not all that likely. So 3 points could be enough. You never know. We've seen it happen before, but they have to raise their game even higher, and I'll be really curious to see over the next few days what the talk is about lineups, because I feel like that
talk
could be
so
the
far
biggest issue.
the initial talk has been how much he got it wrong with the lineup coming out of the gate. But
yeah, I feel like he did. I feel like there's some big mistakes that were made there, and came back to bite him a little bit. Very curious to see what gets said the rest of the week and how many changes we see against England. We will be back for soccer over there this evening. John will not. He will be in transit to Austin, Texas. He will be on the show the rest of the week. We won't have a watch-along in the morning. It'll be a normal show in the morning. There's no 9 o'clock game. 9 o'clock games the rest of the week, so they will be watch-alongs / conversations as we go. This week will be a little bit weird with the 9 o'clock games out of Europe. It's the only week that we have the 9 o'clock games out of Europe, by the way. The rest of the Euros, there will not be 9 o'clock games during the week after Friday. So we will have the watch-alongs this week, except for tomorrow. Tonight will be a hybrid show as well. Soccer over there at 7 o'clock. Watch-along for Paraguay and Bolivia afterwards or into the second half. Miguel Almiron expected to start for Paraguay. They need to get out to a big start in the tournament against Bolivia, a game that Paraguay should win, a game that they should be able to open up and play a little bit. Really curious to see what that looks like for Paraguay. John, I know you're going to have a taped segment tonight, but your final thoughts before we go.
The taped segment for the juice boxes is already in. I will tape a Conca Cinco so you can have that as well. Looks like Alexis Sanchez is set to miss the Chile group stage matches after picking up a foot injury in training, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. I thought that this morning, I thought that Scotland was the better side at times, but, when you let Schick get up high for a header and you're slow in your marking and then you just have one of those moments, that's how it ends up sometimes. So Scotland's got a lot of work to do if they're going to get to that 4 points that we were looking at to get them possibly into out of group stage and into the knockouts. So, obviously a disappointing morning for the first time back in 23 years, but let's see what they do from here. And I do think that some things were missed. I think that not having Che Adams in off jump, I think was one of the things that you need to look into. And so we'll go from there and see how it is this afternoon. I'll be watching from various airports on my way to Austin, Texas.
Various airports? How many airports are you going through?
Well, 2. I mean, I'll be watching at Hartsfield, and then when you land at Bergstrom, waiting for Uber and things. So it's both airports. I will be watching. I'll be watching soccer on devices of various sizes.
You might be able to watch it on the plane too.
Yeah, that's true. A good call. I think that's depending on the airplane, but I think that you're right on. I think I'll be able to watch it on the plane.
Maybe so. All right, about 40 minutes away from Poland and Slovakia. If you're one of our subscribers, I'm sure we'll be talking about this one in the Discord and the Watch Along channel, along with Spain and Sweden, along with Argentina and Chile. Alexis Sanchez is going to be held out of the group stage. He is on the roster, though, for Chile. They're hoping he'll be ready to contribute by the time they get to the knockouts. Nick reminds you, John, that it's not a DC-3. They should have media mid-flight.
Well, there was a new Airbus that we flew.
Nick, off the top.
No lie. When I went to Pensacola for the wedding a couple weeks ago, the Airbus that we were flying in hadn't been fitted yet, so there wasn't any Wi-Fi on the plane. And so we had to deal with that, too. So depends on how young the plane is as to what you can have.
Please put him on a C-130.
Please.
Oh, good grief.
On that note, we will...
How did John get to Texas? How we put him in the back seat of a P-51D Mustang and kind of see what the hell happens?
Basically.
The Wright brothers had a plane available, so we put him there.
Yes.
He had to flap his arms to keep it moving.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Talk to y'all later. Mucho platiel.
Mucho platiel.
And we're out.
Okay, I'm going to tape a Conca Cinco here in a minute.